meeting.
Oh, okay.
Hey, welcome back. If you missed yesterday, don't forget to watch it. It's available, wherever you're watching this. We are just having so much fun with our friends. We can't wait to see what's in store today.
Do you think Joe Bob and Jim Bob will be back?
I hope so. They're so different, they make me laugh.
Well, I can think of one way to find out.
At this morning's worship, Ma was reading us stories about Abraham. She read how Abraham almost sacrificed Isaac. She also told us about the 3 mysterious visitors that came to visit, and even how God called Abraham to get up and move to a whole new place. All this just seemed like too much. Then Ma explained that God calls us to be faithful to Him, no matter what. She said we talk more about Abraham's faithfulness that evening. We had prayer and repeated 2 Timothy 1:9. God has saved us and called us to a holy calling. Joe Bob and I were walking down the street trying to figure out why God had called Abraham to do so many difficult things. All those things Ma had mentioned that morning seemed pretty scary. It didn't make sense, but then we remembered that Ma said God promises always to be faithful to us. As I was deep in thought, we ran into Wally, our other bestest friend in Cactusville. Now, one thing you need to know about Wally is that he is very trustworthy. Wally told us that he was on his way to the store to look at a yo-yo that he was saving up for. He needed 2 more dimes before he could buy it. Wally told us of the different jobs he was doing to earn money for the yo-yo. He also showed us the different tricks that he planned on learning once he got his yo-yo. Suddenly, a bright idea popped into my mind. Well, maybe Joe Bob wasn't convinced that my idea was so bright. I explained to Wally that Joe Bob and I would be willing to loan him the 2 dimes if he agreed to pay it back to us. Wally told us that he was getting paid a whole quarter in 2 days. He would come to our house and pay us by 5 o'clock on Friday. We shook on it and gave Wally 2 whole dimes. Later at home, Ma noticed a distressed look on Joe Bob's face. Joe Bob explained how we had loaned 2 dimes to Wally. He was worried that Wally wasn't going to keep his promise and pay us back, even though we really knew Wally would never want to hurt us. Ma smiled and told us more about how Abraham was called to move. She told us about how Abraham and Lot decided that they needed to separate because there wasn't enough room for both of their herds. So, Abraham uprooted his entire family and moved to a different place. That could not have been easy. But you know what? God blessed Abraham because he was faithful to him. Ma explained how God is always faithful to us. Friday afternoon, Joe Bob and I played hide and seek with Maggie Lou to help keep our mind from worrying that Wally would forget to pay our 2 dimes back. As 5 o'clock got closer, my faith started to turn to doubt. We wondered where Wally was. We had trusted him. Finally, we heard Ma call us for dinner. We said goodbye to Maggie Lou and went home, hoping that Ma wouldn't ask us about the money. When we got inside, Ma had a wonderful surprise for us. It was our faithful friend Wally. He came while we were playing in the woods with Maggie Lou, and of course, he paid us back our 2 dimes. We learned an important lesson that day. Since God is our Father and Creator, He will always be faithful to us. I learned in 2 Timothy 1:9 that it's true, when we are faithful to God, like Abraham was, God will do amazing things through us too.
Who has saved us and called us with a holy calling, not according to our works, but according to His own purpose and grace.
And where did you get that hat?
Today my name is not Grandpa, but Abram, a man who was called by God.
What does it mean to be called Grandpa? I mean, Abram.
Well, let me tell you a story about when God called me.
Okay,
we're ready to listen.
All right. Once upon a time, I lived with my family in a town called Haran. It was a busy place with lots and lots of camels and donkeys and horses. My father owned a trading business. Many, many cattle. But Father was growing old, and so he asked me to take over the business.
Do you have a wife and lots of children, Mr. Abram?
Oh, no children, but a beautiful wife. Oh, Sarai, a very beautiful wife. All was going well until my father died. That same year, I heard the voice of God speaking to me.
God spoke to you? In his own voice?
Yes, Fanta. God called me by name. Abram, he said. Abram, I am calling your name and asking you to move from this country, from your people and from your father's household. I want you to travel with me to a land I will show you.
Wow! So God called you to go off on a journey right into the unknown. You told him no, didn't you?
Well, I did think a little bit about arguing with him, at least a little. But how can you argue with God when he himself stops by your house and talks to you like you would talk to one of your best friends? I listened, and I asked a lot of questions.
Questions? Does God answer your questions too?
Well, actually, Fanta, he kind of ignored my questions and told me more about what he wanted me to do. He said that he was asking me to go on this trip. He was going to make me into a great nation, he said, and that he was going to bless me and my family in ways that would be a blessing to all the other people who lived on earth.
All the people of the earth would be blessed by you?
That's what he said. And all the people of the earth will be blessed by you.
What did your wife Sarai say? Was she excited about moving?
Oh, not at all. She had so many friends and wanted to stay right there in Haran.
So what did you do? Go on the journey alone? Or did you convince her to come along?
Well, when I explained that it was God himself who was doing the asking, Sarai, my wife, offered to start packing. She believed, and that was it. In just a few weeks, we had sold the business and started off following God. All the people we had collected in Haran, including my nephew Lot, his family, it made a pretty large caravan heading toward the land that would be our new home.
Did God give you a map or a cool GPS?
No map, no GPS. When God calls, he never provides a map. Just the promise that he will go with you and show you where to go.
That's a pretty awesome promise. It's kind of like being blindfolded and spun around several times and then told to walk across the room without bumping into something. I'd be afraid.
We did that once at school. When I was blindfolded and walked all alone, I ran into a desk. Ow! And then one of my friends held my hand. I did just fine.
Did you have any other adventures?
Oh, it's pretty important to have someone hold your hand. But even when you're following God, you'll have to do some pretty scary adventures. On our trip, we met robbers. We ran out of water, had to dig a well, and we lost some animals before we finally felt we were where God wanted us to be.
Where did God take you?
All the way to a place you know today as Israel. We called it the land of Canaan. It was like a land flowing with milk and honey. It had everything a family would want. But then the rain stopped. Our crops died. And we were all hungry, very hungry.
What did you eat? And what about your animals? What did they eat? Potatoes? Seems like potatoes are okay even when they're wrinkled.
Did you carry a lot of seeds and food in your luggage?
Let me tell you about our luggage. We took lots of dried food, many different kinds of seeds, barley, wheat, grass, all the things that we could grow to feed our animals. And we took plants, all wrapped tightly in cloth so that they'd stay alive until we could plant them in God's new land. Also, we took cloth and hides for our tents. We took cooking kettles and clothes for cold and hot weather, and head coverings to keep the sun from burning our heads and the rain from washing us away, like my hat.
Tell us one of your adventures.
Well, one year there was a horrible drought in our new land.
What did you do when the drought came?
We went south, down to the country of Egypt. I had heard that there was food growing along the Nile River.
Did you enjoy that trip?
For a while, until the king, they call him Pharaoh, decided he wanted to carry off my wife Sarai as his wife. She was just too beautiful. Wow! If God hadn't rescued us from Pharaoh, oh my, I'm not sure what would have happened. Oh, and then there was the time we had to go to war.
To war? Did you have guns and tanks?
No guns, no tanks. But by then I had 300 servants. They were all trained as soldiers, and they knew how to use bows and arrows and swords. And several kings from nearby towns came into our camp and kidnapped my nephew Lot and his family. And when we heard the news, I called all 300 of my servants, and we rode off to rescue Lot.
Did you win? I would have helped. I have a bow and arrow.
Oh, it would have been lovely to have you helping, Fanta. God used us to win the war, and we were able to bring everyone home, along with all the cattle and other things the enemy had stolen.
When you're following God, you can do almost anything, right? And what was your most favorite adventure?
Oh, remember that I told you God promised to make me a great nation? Well, Sarah and I still hadn't had any children, and I was almost 100 years ancient.
You're 100 years old.
Ooh, that's a little late to start a family, don't you think?
Yeah, that's what I thought. And then one day, several men came up to our tent. And when their leader spoke, I thought his voice sounded familiar, like God had sounded many years ago back in Haran. He told me that Sarah and I were going to have a baby boy, and that his name should be Isaac. Then he said that since we were now going to be starting a great nation, both of us needed new names. He said I would be called Abraham, and Sarai would now be called Sarah.
You were 100 years old?
Mm-hmm. And Sarah was 90 when baby Isaac was born.
I wish I could have come to that celebration.
Mr. Abraham. I guess I should call you Father Abraham. You've sure had a life full of adventures with God. Can I have that kind of life too?
Fanta and Wendy, God calls each of you, just like he called me and Sarah. He has a plan for each of us, and he's eager to lead us on a life journey filled with adventures. Oh, and by the way, no matter how hard the enemy tries to give us trouble, God makes sure we always get the victory.
I have decided to follow Jesus. I have decided to follow Jesus. I have decided to follow Jesus. No turning back, no turning back. Though I may wander, I still will follow.
for you. It seemed like you took forever to get here. I wonder if that's how Abraham felt when he was waiting on God to fulfill his promises of giving him a special land and a son. I wonder if there were times when he felt like God had forgotten his promises and was taking too long to answer his prayers. Well, there's one thing for sure. Abraham knew how to stay connected to God, and that's what we're going to do right now. Connect to God. Do you have your cactus flower already made? Good job! Now let's thank God for loving us no matter what. Hold it gently. Instead of talking to God out loud, we're going to talk to Him in our thinking place up here. Now, we're going to take our cactus flower and place it on our tree. Remember, you can tape it anywhere you want. I just realized that I haven't given you a proper welcome yet today. Let me fix that right now. Welcome to the second day here at Cactusville, where each day we learn a new way that God has called us to follow Jesus. Remember the question I asked earlier? Whether Abraham thought that God was taking too long to keep his promises and answer his prayers? While we can't know the real answer to that question until we meet Abraham in heaven someday, one thing we can know for sure is that God always keeps his promises and he does answer prayers. When you pray, you strengthen your faith in God's promises. The Bible tells us in Matthew 7 verse 7, ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and the door will be open to you. So you see, buckaroos, God always fulfills his promises. We just have to answer his call to be faithful, believing him, and wait on his perfect timing. Which reminds me, we are called
to be faithful.
Now is also the perfect time to practice saying today's portion of our gold nugget found in 2 Timothy 1 verse 9. Let's all say it together. Jesus, who has saved us and called us with a holy calling, not according to our works, but according to his own purpose and grace. Nice job, buckaroos! Buckaroos, each of you need a piece of yarn for our next activity. Remember to take good care of it because we're going to be using it very soon for something fun. As we travel through Cactusville today, remember that we are called
To be faithful.
Yes, sirree! God called Abraham to leave his comfortable home and go to a new land. Abraham had to have lots of faith to believe that God would take care of him and get him to his new home safely. Since we're out here in the Wild West, we're going to pretend that our yarn is a lasso. Cowboys use lassos to rope cows and other wild animals. But today, we're going to use our lasso to make a picture. Yep, I've written a word on this here card. Shh, it's a secret. But when you see the word appear, I want you to draw a picture showing how you can be faithful using this word. Let's try it. Here's the secret word. family. Now, I wonder what picture I could make with my yarn to make everyone think about family. I got it! What did you create with your lasso? Take a picture of it and ask an adult to post it to your church Facebook page with the hashtag VBS2021. If you're not finished, don't worry, you can always come back to it. Come sit with me for a bit at our Sunset Canyon campfire. I have my prayer journal. Did you get yours printed? Put your name on the outside. This journal belongs to you, and it has all of your thoughts and prayers to God. Let's do it now. Now, I want you to turn to the person nearest to you and hand them your doodles and prayer journal and have them sign their name in it. And while they're doing that, you can sign your name in their journal too. Now, just in case you're all alone, if you have a pet, you can just trace their paw in your journal. What fun! Nice job, buckaroos! I hope you got lots of signatures or paw prints. Now, I have an assignment just for you. I want you to place your journal on your pillows, and before you go to sleep tonight, open your journal and pray for every person who signed your book. Pray that they will be faithful to God's calling. Pray that they will believe in God's promises and trust Him to always take care of them. Buckaroos, our time at Sunset Canyon is almost up. But I hope you had fun making your prayer picture lassos and that they will always remind you of the many ways that God has called you to be faithful. And don't forget to pray for all the people who signed your doodles and prayer journal before you go to sleep tonight. Let's bow our heads for a word of prayer. Don't forget to take off your Western hats. Let's pray. Dear Jesus, thank you for the call to be faithful. Thank you for your promises. Thank you for always answering our prayers. Please help us to be faithful in everything we say and do. Thank you for loving us, Jesus. We love you too. We ask all these things in your name. Amen. Yes, sirree, buckaroos. It's been a pleasure being with you. See you tomorrow.
We didn't have any yarn, so we drew. What did you draw?
I drew my family.
Cool. How about you? I drew my family. It's cool to see how God is faithful, even when it seems like we have to wait a long time.
I think I know how Abraham felt having to wait for God.
Yeah? How?
The same way I feel waiting for them to start the next video.
Where you go, I'll go. Where you stay, I'll stay. When you move, I'll move. I will follow. All your ways are good.
Welcome, Buckaroos. It is good to see you back here at the Trade Post again. I have some special guests who are going to be helping me today. Come on, Nema. Come on, Junior. Say hi, boys and girls.
Hi, boys and girls.
God is calling us to be faithful too. Just like Abraham, we're going to practice it right now. I am going to say we are called, and the kids are going to say called to be faithful, and at the end we'll do a big yeehaw! Are you guys ready?
Yes.
Good job. We are called to be faithful. Yeehaw! One more time. We are called to be faithful. Yeah! Good job, boys and girls. Today we are going to be making a Cactusville wild bird. It will fly as if it doesn't know where it is going. So I'm going to give some quick directions of what we are going to be doing. And Nema, the big sister, is going to be helping out her little brother. Remember always, when we're using a sharp object, to have somebody helping you all the time. Remember, you're going to cut along the solid lines, only the solid lines, okay? So let's cut together. And we're going to do a real quick one. So while they're doing theirs, they don't have to do theirs as fast as I am doing it. And when we will be done, it will look something like this. You would have cut all through the solid lines and right through the tips at the bottom, because this is what we're going to be using to fold and make our whirlwind. When you can see it gives you the signs of what it is you're supposed to be folding. So we're going to fold it according to the letters that it has given us. So fold the letter A, Junior, and then we fold the letter B, then the letter C, which was at the bottom. And by the time we are done, we should have something that looks like this. And only D and E are left, okay? So when we get to this point, you can decorate it any way you like. So while they're decorating, remember, we folded both the A, B, and the C at the bottom. The D and E, the D goes to the front and the E goes to the back. So it looks like a whirlwind. Let's see if this works. All right, Junior, Nema, raise it up, raise your whirlwind. Okay, let's see which one works. Good job, boys and girls. Let's do that one more time. 1, 2, 3. Oh, yay, good job. Oh my, Buckaroos, it is time to put the finishing touches of our masterpiece and get ready to move on the trails of our next Cactusville destination. I will say, we are called, and you remember?
We are faithful.
Good job. So let's do it one more time for the boys and girls. We are called to be faithful. Yeehaw! One more time, guys. We are called to be faithful. Yeehaw! Happy trails, y'all, and see you next time. Let's do the yeehaw. Yeehaw!
Howdy, cowboys and cowgirls, and welcome back to the Rowdy Roundup. Yeehaw! It's great to have you back. Why, I'm more excited than a rooster crowing at daybreak to see you here again. Have you ever heard a rooster? You have? What do they sound like? That's right, cock-a-doodle-doo! Can you pretend to be roosters with me? Let's say it together. Cock-a-doodle-doo! Yeehaw! I'm so happy you're here. Know why? Because we're getting ready to play a game again. Now, in today's story, we talked about Abraham and how he was called to be faithful. Yahoo! Being faithful to God is something that we can all do. Know how? We choose to follow where God leads us every day. We choose to follow His directions. Have you ever had to follow directions before? Me too! We're going to practice on how to follow a few directions during today's game. Now, we're going to test how quick you are to follow them and how good your memories are. All you need for this game will be a chair and some great listening ears. Yeah! We'll give you some instructions on how to do it slow. Then we'll have a medium speed and then a super fast speed. And we'll see if you remember all the steps by yourselves. Are you ready? Me too. Let's go, sharpshooters. Yeehaw!
All right, cowboys and cowgirls, let's get ready to play our game. You got your chair and you got your listening ears? Let's do it. First instructions is we're going to turn to the left and walk around the chair. Now we're going to turn to the right and walk around the chair. Good job. Next, you're going to stomp your feet in place. March, 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 in place, I said. You got to march in place. There you go. Good listening ears. Now sit down. There you go. Take a seat. Take a seat. You ready? Okay, you ready now? All right, clap your hands. Good. Now touch your nose. Now wiggle your fingers. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. And tap your toes. Next, you're going to stand up tall and reach for the sky. There you go. Now squat down low. Oh, I said squat down. There you go. Come on, squat. There you go. Squat down low. Now take a bow to the left and take a bow to the right. And do-si-do around your chair. Take a seat. Good job. That was us going slow. Our next one, we're going to go medium speed, so get ready. All right, here we are, medium speed. So you're going to turn to your left. See if you remember. The left. Yeehaw! Now turn to the right. Now stomp your feet and sit down. Clap your hands. Touch your nose. Good job. You're going to wiggle your fingers. You remembered. Now tap your toes. Good job. Wiggle your nose. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Good job. Now stand up tall, reach for the sky, and squat down low. We're squatting, remember? Squat down low. Good. Now you're going to take a bow to the left, take a bow to the right, and do-si-do. There you go. Good listening ears. That was medium speed. Get ready to go fast. Okay, you ready? What's the first one? Show me what's the first one is. Oh, okay. Now you ready? Let's go. What's the first one? Good job. Turn to the left and then turn to the right. What are you going to do after that? Stomp your feet. Good job. What are you going to do after that? Sit down. Good job. Wiggle your fingers. And then you're going to tap your toes. Stand up tall. Reach for the sky. Squat down low. Uh-oh, where's the bow to? Yeah, very good. Do-si-do was the last one, and you made it. That was the fastest I've ever seen. Good job. Yeehaw!
Wow! You all did an amazing job. How was it for you when you heard the instructions? Were you able to follow along? Did you remember all the steps at the end? God's instructions aren't quite like that. No, we can learn about his instructions in the Bible. When we follow what the Bible shows us, we're able to be faithful. Now that we've played our game, it's time for us to have some fun on your own. But first, I have something to show you. Hey, what is this? That's right, it's a compass. There are 4 directions on a compass. You got north, you got south, you got east, we got west. Yes, it helps us when we get lost because a compass always points north. Today's story talked about how God guided Abraham, not with a compass, no siree Bob, but with his instructions. God told Abraham to leave his family and his friends to go to another land, a land that he didn't know. Abraham was called to be faithful. Yahoo! Now, God guided him as he left his homeland to a place that God promised for him. He and his whole family prospered, and they grew into a mighty big nation of God's promised people. Yeah! It is important that we ask God to guide us even when the choice to follow him may be hard. We never know how God will bless us when we're faithful to him. Well, that's all the time we've got for today. Have fun playing your game on your own. And remember, God is our compass. That's right. God will always guide you just like he guided Abraham. We are all called to be faithful. Yeah! Goodbye now.
Okay, guys, here's our game. We got north, we got south, we got east, and we got west. Our game is called Four Corners, and you gotta listen. So you ready? If you wore red today, run to the north. If you have a puppy, hop to the south. If you prayed before going to bed, skip to the east. Now, if you ate breakfast this morning, why don't you crab crawl to the west? Look, it's windy out here in the Wild Wild West. There you go, crab crawl. If you have a best friend, tiptoe to the north. Here's a good one. If you like broccoli, take a giant step to the south. Hey, what about if you like to swim, march to the east? Well, if you like to play soccer, you can penguin walk to the west. Hey, did you kiss your mama today? Hopscotch to the north if you did. If you like ice cream, gallop to the south. Gallop, gallop, gallop. Did you brush your teeth today? Well, if you did, run to the east. Ah, that was quick. If you like pineapple, hop to the west. So if you live out in the country, why don't you tiptoe to the north? If you like pizza, wiggle yourself to the south. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. There you go. Do you know a memory verse? Well, flap like a chicken to the east. Hey, do you have a sister? Well, why don't you hop on one leg to the west? Do you have a brother? Then crab crawl to the north. And if you like watermelon, penguin walk to the south. There we go, we got marching penguins. If you like math, gallop to the east. Well, how about if you like spaghetti, flap like a chicken to the west? If you like green beans, skip to the north. And if you have a bike, crab crawl to the south. If you like to sing, run to the east. Well, I guess nobody likes to sing. Do you? Oh, they do. I'm telling you, it's windy. Do you have a pet snake? Hopscotch to the west. Wait, what? Aw, he's just joking. He don't got no pet snake. You know, you can have fun with this game. You can make up your own. So why don't you get ready, play with your ma and pa, and play on your own. Yee-haw! Goodbye now.
Phew, that was crazy. Yeah. That was a lot of different instructions to follow.
But it was fun. I didn't realize following instructions could be so much fun. And I know God makes following Him instructions fun too. That's so cool.
It also makes me want to eat pineapple ice cream.
Or pizza, or watermelon. I think I'm hungry. I wonder what Abraham missed when he had to leave home. What food he couldn't have anymore. That sounds hard.
Yeah, following God isn't always easy, but He always helps us.
Hey, where did you get those?
Mom got them for us.
Well, that means we gotta go. See you tomorrow!